Dealers can't keep these bikes in stock. Shipments vanish in hours. Waiting lists stretch for months, and 2025 has turned into pure motorcycle chaos. From cheap commuters smashing records to premium beasts sparking hype wars, these are the 17 best-selling motorcycles riders are fighting to buy. And number 1, you'll see why it's unstoppable. Starting at number 17, Lexmoto LXR 125. Nobody thought a budget Chinese-built 125 would keep stealing the spotlight, but here it is, 2 months in a row, topping UK road sport registrations. The Lexmoto LXR 125 isn't just sneaking into garages, it's moving fast enough that dealers barely keep stock. Why? Look at it. A full-fairing, big bike profile that tricks even seasoned riders into thinking it's a 300. But when you find out it's cheap to insure, sips fuel like a scooter, and still gives beginners bragging rights, suddenly it makes sense. Most 125s feel disposable. The LXR feels like a gateway drug. It hooks young riders who want that sport bike look without the debt. And right now, with traffic insane and gas bills rising, this little thing is selling not just as a starter bike, but as a survival machine. Here's the kicker. LXR owners talk more about the looks than the ride. That tells you the real reason behind its sales. It makes you feel like you're in the club before you're even licensed for the big leagues. Waiting lists in some shops are getting weird, because when a cheap sport bike actually looks expensive, the hype fuels itself. Would you buy a fake big bike if it saves you thousands? Or would you hold out for a real 300? Comment your thoughts below. Looks sell, but the next bike proves boring design can still dominate sales charts. At number 16, Honda CB125. Honda isn't sexy here, it's boring. And that's exactly why the CB125 keeps smashing the naked class in the UK. In July, the R version led. In August, the F version snatched the crown. That's not luck, it's proof that boring wins races in sales charts. The CB125F is the sensible commuter. Plain looks, extreme reliability, and running costs so low that even inflation can't kill it. The CB125R? Sharper lines, a little more flair, but still the same unbeatable Honda dependability. Either way, buyers don't even hesitate. They grab whatever version is on the floor because they know both do the same job. Cheap, simple, stress-free transport. That's the Honda trick. While other brands fight for style points, Honda cashes in on reputation. If you're a parent buying your kid their first bike or a commuter tired of broken scooters, you walk out with a CB125. And in 2025, more riders are doing exactly that. Here's the sting for rivals. These bikes hold resale value like crazy. You might get bored, but the next rider is waiting with cash in hand. Dealers can't even keep both versions evenly. Whichever arrives first sells out, proving people just want a Honda 125. Would you rather have style that excites or a boring Honda that never fails? Comment your thoughts below. Commuters may settle for boring, but the next bike shows why scooters are making cars look stupid in 2025. At number 15, Honda PCX 125. This scooter makes cars look stupid in city traffic. The Honda PCX 125 isn't just selling, it's flying out of showrooms. In July 2025, it moved nearly 400 units in the UK alone, topping the scooter charts. A month later, still number 1. That's rare consistency in a segment where rivals like Yamaha's NMAX are always close behind. Here's the secret. It's not just transport, it's convenience wrapped in Honda polish. Riders love the under-seat storage that actually swallows groceries, the stop-start system that saves gas and gridlock, and fuel economy that embarrasses compact cars. Add in Honda's bulletproof build and resale value, and you've got a scooter that doubles as a money-saving machine. The PCX isn't cheap, but here's the kicker. People don't care. Waiting lists are piling up because commuters are desperate to ditch traffic jams and rising fuel costs. A car payment looks insane when this thing gets you across town faster and for pennies. Owners rave about how it feels premium compared to rivals. Smooth plastics, clean lines, and a riding position that doesn't leave you cramped after 20 minutes. In 2025, with urban pressure skyrocketing, this scooter is more than a ride. It's an escape plan. Would you actually ditch your car for a scooter if it saved you an hour a day? Scooters win cities, but the next bike proves that adventure dreams sell out even faster. At number 14, BMW R1300GS. Adventure. This isn't a motorcycle, it's a passport. The BMW R1300GS Adventure sits at the top of the adventure category, and in July 2025, it dominated UK registrations. Riders aren't buying it because it's cheap. They're buying it because it screams freedom and makes lesser bikes feel like toys. The new GS is lighter, packed with ride modes, and that big boxer engine makes effortless torque on highways. Add crash bars, luggage, and windscreens, and suddenly, you've got a bike that looks like it can cross continents, and actually can. Buyers know it's expensive. They also know resale stays rock solid. That's why dealers are reporting waiting lists even when prices are climbing. Here's the punch. Most owners will never cross the Sahara, but they want to look like they could. That image sells harder than horsepower ever will. BMW has turned the GS into the SUV of motorcycles. Practical enough for a commute, overbuilt enough to impress your riding group, and legendary enough that nobody questions your choice. The FOMO is real. Shipments land, and bikes disappear in days. Because in 2025, people aren't just buying motorcycles, they're buying identity. And the GS Adventure gives you one instantly. If you had the cash, would you actually ride this beast off-road or just flex it on Sundays? The GS makes you dream big, but the next bike proves small displacement can still crush sales with old-school charm. At number 13, Triumph Speed 400. This is Triumph's Trojan horse. The Speed 400 dropped into the modern classic category in 2025 and instantly stormed to the top of UK registration charts. Why? Because it gives you real Triumph DNA without forcing you to sell a kidney. At a glance, it looks premium. Polished paint, sharp retro lines, that big Triumph tank badge. But underneath, it's a manageable single-cylinder bike with just enough punch to feel alive. Beginners love it because it's approachable. Veterans love it because it feels like a proper motorcycle without the weight and headaches of a leader bike. And here's the kicker. Triumph has priced it just low enough that rivals can't match the mix of badge value and street cred. Riders are queuing up because this isn't just another entry bike, it's a status symbol on a budget. Dealers can't keep stock. Shipments vanish before hitting the floor. This bike embarrasses rivals in its class by proving that branding and heritage matter as much as horsepower. In a market where every brand is screaming for attention, Triumph just quietly built the perfect hook for new riders. The Speed 400 shows how heritage sells, but the next bike proves old-school singles are still rewriting sales charts. At number 12, Honda GB350S. Honda knows how to make nostalgia profitable. The GB350S, a sportier spin on the GB350, topped the modern classic category in July 2025. Riders can't resist its formula. Upright stance, torquey 348 cubic centimeters single, and classic lines that make you feel like you've time traveled to the golden age of motorcycling. It's not fast, it's not flashy, but that's the point. The GB350S offers calm, predictable torque and a seat that works for daily rides and weekend trips alike. Riders who outgrow scooters or 125s often jump here because it finally feels like a real motorcycle, but without the intimidating learning curve of a big twin. What's fueling demand? Simplicity. In a world of TFT screens and endless riding modes, the GB350S is refreshingly straightforward, and that honesty makes it sell. It doesn't try to be everything. It just nails the basics, and buyers reward it with waiting lists that move as soon as new stock arrives. Honda turned retro charm into a business model, and the GB350S proves that sometimes boring is brilliant. The GB350S wins on honesty, but the next bike proves sheer volume and global reach can crush every niche. At number 11, Royal Enfield Hunter 350. The Hunter 350 is proof that you don't need crazy horsepower to dominate sales charts. You just need to nail the vibe. Since its launch, this single-cylinder 349 cubic centimeter retro roadster has been moving 15,000 to 17,000 units every month in India, a pace most global brands only dream of. It's light, affordable, and easy to handle, making it irresistible for new riders. But it doesn't look like a learning learner bike. That's the magic. It carries the same heritage aura as bigger Enfields, without the intimidating size or price tag. In traffic, it feels nimble. On highways, it's calm. And everywhere, it looks cool enough to turn heads. Royal Enfield's marketing nailed the pitch. This is the urban classic that fits into every lifestyle. College students, commuters, weekend riders, everyone finds a reason to buy it. Add India's unmatched dealer network and cheap maintenance, and the result is a motorcycle that practically sells itself. Here's the twist. The Hunter 350 isn't just a local success. It's creeping into export markets where riders want affordable retro style without paying Triumph or BMW money. That crossover potential makes waiting lists grow longer every quarter. The Hunter proves nostalgia sells, but the next bike takes middleweight performance and makes it addictive. At number 10, KTM 390 series. This is the bike that refuses to stay off the charts. KTM's 390 line, Duke, Adventure, and Enduro, has turned into the global poster child for entry-level performance. In 2025, the updated LC4C engine gave these bikes more torque and refinement, and riders rushed in. The Duke is the hooligan, aggressive styling, sharp handling, and just enough power to scare you if you're not careful. The Adventure, $390? A do-it-all middleweight that lets you chase dirt trails one day and cruise highways the next. And the Enduro R? It's pure fun for riders who want KTM's off-road DNA without committing to a 690. Sales across Asia and Europe prove the formula works. This is the upgrade bike for riders stepping up from 125s and 250. Dealers report waiting lists in India, where KTM is seen as a cooler alternative to Japanese rivals. The genius of the 390 family is simple. It makes you feel like you're riding something far bigger than it is. And in 2025, that illusion sells faster than spec sheets ever could. KTM sells adrenaline, but the next machine shows how classic twins are rewriting the global middleweight market. At number 9, Royal Enfield Interceptor 650. The Interceptor 650 proves that middleweight twins can outsell bikes twice their price. Since launch, it's been one of the world's most popular mid-capacity motorcycles, and in 2025, the story hasn't changed. It's still flying out of showrooms. Here's why. It blends heritage styling with modern dependability, something riders in India, Europe, and the Americas all crave. That 648 cubic centimeter parallel twin makes around 47 horsepower, modest on paper, but in the real world, it delivers smooth torque that feels right at every speed. Pair that with a comfortable upright riding position, and you've got a bike that works just as well for Sunday coffee runs as it does for cross-country miles. What makes it a killer deal is the price. It's a big bike experience at a fraction of what you'd pay for a Triumph Bonneville or a Kawasaki W800. That value proposition is what keeps demand insane, especially in markets where riders want the twin-cylinder feel without crushing debt. Dealers say new shipments don't sit around, they disappear. Waiting lists are forming not just in India, but also in Europe, where the Interceptor has become the go-to entry big bike. Riders want retro looks, real engine feel, and affordability. The Interceptor 650 delivers all three, and 2025 shows no sign of it slowing down. Retro twins dominate, but the next bike flips the script with hybrid tech in the commuter class. At number 8, Yamaha FZS Hybrid. This is where Yamaha pulled off a bold move, making the commuter bike cool again. The FZS Hybrid hit the Indian market with a 149 cubic centimeter single backed by a smart motor generator, creating a hybrid system that kicks in extra torque off the line and enables start-stop efficiency. On paper, it looks tame, about 12 horsepower, 13 newton meters of torque, but in practice, it's smoother, snappier in traffic, and unbelievably frugal with fuel. In April 2025, Yamaha sold over 13,000 units of its FZ series, proving riders are ready for something new in the budget space. The hybrid system isn't just a gimmick, it actually makes city commutes easier. Hit the throttle, get that little electric assist, and glide away while rivals are still bogging down. Combine that with Yamaha's reputation for reliability, and you've got a commuter that feels futuristic without being fragile. What's really driving sales is the bragging rights. Owners love telling friends they're riding India's first mainstream hybrid motorcycle. That alone has created a buzz where dealerships can't keep stock on hand. Add rising fuel prices into the mix, and suddenly, this isn't just a commuter, it's a commuter with status. The FZ Hybrid brings tech to commuters, but the next next bike sells because it's the do-everything middleweight that refuses to die. At number 7, Honda CB500X. If there's one word for the CB500X, it's trust. Riders across Europe, Asia, and North America keep buying this middleweight adventure crossover because it does everything without complaint. A 471 cubic centimeter parallel twin, upright ergos, long travel suspension, none of it flashy, but all of it useful. In 2025, Honda doubled down on making it smoother and more refined, and the payoff is clear. Dealers report steady sales even when bigger adventure bikes sit unsold. Why? Because the CB500X is the sweet spot, powerful enough for highways, light enough for new riders, and reliable enough that mechanics rarely see one outside of routine service. It doesn't chase headlines, but here's the truth. Boring sells. While rivals try to wow riders with massive horsepower or endless electronics, the CB500X quietly proves that practicality is the ultimate flex. Owners stick with them for years, and word of mouth keeps fueling demand. Are you the type who wants gadgets and horsepower, or would you rather own a boring bike that just works? Tell us in the comments below. Practicality pays, but the next machine shows how premium adventure bikes can spark full-blown waiting list chaos. At number 6, BMW R1300GS Adventure. This isn't just BMW's flagship, it's the adventure market's gold standard. The R1300GS Adventure sits at the top of the premium charts, and in July 2025, it was the outright leader in UK adventure registrations. That's not by accident, it's because demand is so hot that bikes vanish from showrooms almost immediately. The big boxer engine delivers endless torque, and BMW's tech suite, ride modes, cornering ABS, adaptive lights, makes it feel like a luxury car on two wheels. Add in a massive fuel tank, rugged crash bars, and factory luggage, and suddenly you're staring at a bike that could cross continents without breaking a sweat. Most riders don't ride across continents, but that doesn't matter. The image does the selling. The GS has become the SUV of the bike world. Big, comfortable, and packed with features that make even short commutes feel like an expedition. Owners know it, rivals know it, and waiting lists prove it. Be honest, would you actually take this monster off-road, or would you buy it just to flex? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. BMW dominates premium sales, but the next bike proves retro heritage, and affordability can be even more dangerous together. At number 5, Bajaj Pulsar 125/Pulsar NS 160. The Pulsar line is the bread and butter of India's streets. Month after month in 2025, the Pulsar 125 keeps posting 40,000 to 50,000 plus sales, making it one of the most unstoppable motorcycles in the commuter sports segment. And that's just the 125. Add in the NS 160, and Bajaj locks down riders who want just a little more bite. Here's why it works. The Pulsar looks aggressive enough to feel sporty, but it's cheap to run and cheap to fix. Mileage hovers around 50 kilometers per liter, maintenance costs are low, and every corner shop mechanic knows how to work on one. That combination makes it the safe choice that still feels like a thrill. Bajaj has built a cult here. College kids buy it as their first real bike, delivery riders buy it because it won't quit, and veterans pick one up as a reliable second machine. The design keeps evolving, but the sales numbers tell the real story. This line is bulletproof. Do you think Bajaj has perfected the everyman's bike, or is it just riding on habit? Comment below with your take. Bajaj wins by being practical, but the next Yamaha proves sharp styling and tech can outsell raw numbers. At number 4, Yamaha MT-15 V2. This is the bike that makes teenagers drool and parents nervous. The Yamaha MT-15 V2 isn't just a commuter, it's a mini street fighter that sold 20,000 plus units in India in April 2025 alone. That's blockbuster territory for a 155cc machine. The secret sauce? It borrows DNA from the R15 sport bike, but strips it into an upright, aggressive package that dominates city streets. The variable valve actuation tech means the engine pulls smooth at low revs, then wakes up when you push it. Combine that with killer styling and premium features like LED lighting and Bluetooth connectivity, and suddenly, this small bike feels like a lifestyle purchase. Riders say it doesn't just get you to class or work, it makes you feel like you're starring in your own commercial every time you stop at a traffic light. And that's what keeps it hot. Emotion sells. Dealers can't keep colors in stock. The demand isn't just high, it's feverish. In 2025, the MT-15 has proved that sharp design beats bland efficiency every single time. Would you spend extra for a small bike that looks this good? Or stick with a cheaper commuter? Let us know in the comments below. Yamaha sells style, but the next Royal Enfield proves heritage and nostalgia can crush them all in raw numbers. At number 3, Royal Enfield Classic 350. This is the bike that refuses to die, and 2025 proves it's stronger than ever. The Royal Enfield Classic 350 has been moving 20,000 plus units a month in India, keeping it right near the top of the charts. And it's not just numbers, it's culture. The Classic 350 isn't bought with logic, it's bought with heart. Riders want that thumping single, the chrome tank, the vintage stance. It's not the fastest, not the lightest, and definitely not the most advanced, but none of that matters. It looks timeless, it sounds iconic, and it carries a history you can't fake. Even with new rivals crowding the market, the Classic holds its ground because it offers something money can't measure: identity. Ride one, and you're instantly part of a decades-old story. In 2025, riders from villages to big cities are still lining up for that feeling. It's proof that nostalgia sells harder than horsepower. Other bikes promise speed, the Classic 350 promises belonging, and belonging, it turns out, is priceless. Do you think nostalgia is enough to keep the Classic at the top, or should Enfield finally modernize it more? Comment below with your thoughts. The Classic thrives on heritage, but the next bike dwarfs it with sheer commuter volume that crushes everything else. At number 2, Honda Shine 125. If the Classic is bought with the heart, the Honda Shine is bought with the head. And in 2025, heads are winning, because this bike is moving 100,000 plus units every single month in India. That's commuter dominance on a scale that makes rivals sweat. The Shine nails every box commuters care about. Fuel economy around 55 to 60 kilometers per liter, an upright seat that keeps you comfortable in traffic, Honda's rock-solid reliability, and low service costs. It's the definition of practical. No gimmicks, no fluff, just a motorcycle that gets the job done day after day. But here's where it gets wild. Despite being so boring, the Shine has built loyalty that borders on obsession. Families keep buying them generation after generation. Delivery riders trust them to make a living, and resale values stay strong because the next buyer already knows what they're getting. Dealers report that even when the economy tightens, Shine demand doesn't dip, it actually rises. Because when money gets tight, people trust Honda to stretch every drop of fuel. The Shine doesn't need hype. The numbers tell the story. It's a silent giant crushing competitors with reliability. If you had to pick one bike to last you 10 years, would you choose the Shine? Drop your answer in the comments below. The Shine rules commuters, but the number one bike of 2025 outsells them all, and it's not even close. At number 1, Hero Splendor Plus. Here it is, the king of 2025. The Hero Splendor Plus isn't just a bestseller, it's the best seller, year after year, with numbers so big they look unreal. We're talking 200,000 plus units every single month in India. That's not just dominating the market, it's obliterating it. Why does it sell like this? Because it does exactly what millions of riders need. It runs forever, sips fuel like a bicycle with an engine, and costs so little to maintain that even mechanics struggle to stay in business around it. The Splendor's 97cc single puts out barely 8 horsepower, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that it starts every morning, takes you to work, takes you home, and asks for almost nothing in return. Other bikes sell image. The Splendor sells peace of mind. Families trust it. Delivery riders depend on it. Rural areas worship it. You'll find Splendors stacked on every street corner because people buy them in 2s and 3s for household use. Dealers don't even bother with promotions. Stock arrives, stock disappears. And here's the kicker. Rivals keep trying to beat it with fancier commuters, more gadgets, more styling. They all fail because the Splendor doesn't need to impress. It just needs to deliver. And in 2025, it's still the undisputed ruler of the global sales charts. Do you think the Splendor deserves its throne? Or is it just habit keeping it alive? Drop your answer in the comments below. 17 motorcycles proved why riders spend big in 2025. But the story flips in the USA. The best sellers there are completely different. Click here to see which bikes dominate America's roads right now.